3 highways, 3 nightmares. On one road, something follows you in the dark. On another, she waits for you to stop. And on the last, you never leave, whisper. So tell me, which road are you on? The highway cut through the Arizona desert like a black wound across the earth. Under the dead white moonlight, Route 666 looked less like a road and more like something alive. Something that had opened its long, endless mouth through miles of dry land, broken signposts, and rusted fences. The desert should have felt empty. Instead, it felt like it was watching. Samir Rahman tightened his grip on the steering wheel of his old black pickup truck. The engine hummed beneath him, steady but tired, and every few seconds his GPS blinked out, searching for a signal it could never seem to find. His phone had gone dead an hour ago. No service, no traffic, no lights, no towns, just him and the road. Earlier that evening, he had stopped at a tiny gas station in New Mexico, a forgotten place with one flickering light above the pumps and a bored old man behind the counter. Samir had mentioned he was taking Route 666 as a shortcut through Arizona toward Utah. The old man had slowly lifted his eyes and stared at him for a long moment. "That ain't a shortcut," he said at last. "That's a hungry road." Samir had laughed a little, thinking it was just local superstition. "Haunted highway story?" The old man didn't smile. "If you see a shadow crossing the road," he said, "don't hit the brakes. If somebody asks for a ride, don't stop. And if you hear whispering inside your car..." He stopped there, just stared, as if whatever came next didn't need saying. Now, alone in the dark, Samir wished he had asked more questions. The heater was off, and the windows were closed. The radio was dead silent. Still, a sound near his ear. Breathing. Samir froze. He glanced at the passenger seat. Empty. He checked the back seat in the mirror. A duffel bag, a jacket, nothing else. He swallowed hard and forced a shaky breath out through his nose. "Just whined," he muttered. But the windows were closed. A few seconds later, he looked into the rear-view mirror again. At first, the road behind him was empty. Then 2 headlights appeared. Far back, small at first, 2 pale dots floating in darkness. Samir frowned. He hadn't seen any car behind him before. Nothing. The highway had been dead for miles. But now, the headlights were growing larger, and fast. Much too fast. He pressed the gas a little. The lights kept coming. Now he could tell it wasn't a car. It was a truck. A huge one. Old-fashioned. Long front hood. Massive grille. High beams bright enough to bleach the inside of his pickup white. But there was something wrong with it. Something that made the hair on the back of his neck stand up. It made no sound. No roaring engine. No tires. No rumbling diesel growl. A truck that big should have shaken the road. Instead, it moved like a ghost. Samir cursed under his breath and switched lanes, giving it room to pass. It didn't pass. It stayed right behind him. Close enough now that he could feel the pressure of its light pressing against the back of his skull. He tried to make out the driver through the windshield glare. At first, he couldn't see anything. Then the angle shifted slightly, and he saw it. Something was sitting behind the wheel. Something with a head bent too far to one side. Something whose face looked wrong, half hidden, half melted into shadow. And where the eyes should have been, the darkness looked deeper than night itself, as if the light from the headlights among was being swallowed into those sockets and dying there. Samir's throat tightened. He slammed the gas pedal down harder. The desert blurred by in streaks of gray and black. Dry bushes flashed past like crouching figures. The steering wheel trembled in his hands. His pulse pounded so loudly that it almost drowned out the silence of the road. Almost. Then the radio turned on by itself. Kash! Static exploded through the cab. Samir jerked in his seat. He reached for the knob, but before his fingers touched it, a voice came through the static. Stop. His blood turned cold. The voice was deep. Cracked. Not loud, but close. Too close, as if someone were speaking through a mouth pressed against his ear. Then it said his name. Stop, Samir. His hands nearly slipped from the wheel. The radio hissed again. More voices layered beneath the first. Men, women, children, whispering over each other in distorted waves. Don't look back. Pull over. We're cold. Let us in. He stabbed the power button. Nothing happened. The radio kept spitting static and whispers. Then, up ahead, something ran across the road. A shadow, but not like a person. It moved wrong. For 1 second, it was sprinting on 2 legs. The next, it dropped to all 4s and lunged across the highway with impossible speed. Its body was too thin, too long, too bent in the wrong places. Instinct took over. Samir slammed the brakes. The tires screamed. His truck fishtailed violently, swerving sideways across the asphalt. Dust exploded around him. The desert spun in the windshield. He wrestled the wheel, barely keeping the truck from rolling into the ditch. Finally, the pickup skidded to a stop at the side of the road. The engine still ran. The headlights still burned. Everything around him vanished into a cloud of dust. He sat there, gasping. His chest heaved. Sweat ran down the side of his face. His hands shook so badly he could barely feel his fingers. Then the dust began to settle. Samir slowly looked in the rear-view mirror. The black truck was gone. No headlights, no engine, no shape. Nothing behind him except the empty road stretching back into the dark. His lips parted. No. He had seen it. He knew he had seen it. And he turned forward again and froze. A woman was standing in the middle of the road. She hadn't been there before. She stood just inside the reach of his headlights, dressed in a long, pale white gown, head lowered so that her black hair hung over her face. She didn't move, didn't twitch, didn't sway with the wind. She just stood there, perfectly still. Samir felt a cold ache spread through his ribs. No. His foot found the brake harder, though the truck wasn't moving. Then, tock. Something tapped against the rear window. Samir stopped breathing. Tock, tock, tock. Slow, light, like fingernails against glass. He turned his eyes to the rearview mirror. A small shape sat in the back seat beside his duffel bag. A child. Pale skin, head tilted slightly, eyes completely black. Its mouth looked wrong, split and stretched, as if it had once been sewn shut and ripped open again. One small finger lifted. Tock, tock, tock. It was tapping on the inside of the rear window. Samir made a sound that was half scream, half gasp. He threw the truck into gear and hit the gas. The pickup lunged forward, straight toward the woman in white. At the last second, she raised her head. Her face had no eyes. Only 2 deep black holes, and her mouth, it stretched far too wide, splitting nearly to the ears, filled with jagged dark teeth that looked wet under the headlights. Samir yelled and jerked the wheel sideways, barely missing her. For a fraction of a second, he felt something scrape against the side of the truck, long, cold fingers sliding across metal. Then she was behind him. He didn't look back. He drove faster, 90 miles per hour. The road opened in front of him like a tunnel of darkness. His heart hammered against his ribs so hard it hurt. He could still feel the child's presence in the back seat, though he forced himself not to turn around. 10 minutes later, something flickered on the horizon. A sign, a building, a motel. Its neon lights buzzed weakly in the middle of nowhere, like a dying insect. Half the letters were burned out, but he could still make out the name, Red Moon Lodge. A few abandoned cars sat outside. One water tank, one office, one line of dim rooms beneath a cracked roof. There shouldn't have been a motel out here, but right now it looked like salvation. Samir pulled into the lot and slammed the truck into park. He jumped out, legs weak, head spinning. The desert wind hit him like furnace heat, but somehow he still felt freezing cold. He glanced through the rear window before going inside. The back seat was empty. The child was gone. Still, the glass seemed to hold the memory of a face pressed close against it. Inside the office, a bell chimed softly over the door. Behind the counter sat an old woman with a paper-thin face and pale, cloudy eyes. She looked at Samir once and seemed to understand immediately. "You came from the road," she said. Samir swallowed. "Yeah, I need a room for the night." The old woman stared at him for several seconds before reaching beneath the desk and placing a rusted key on the counter. "Room 6. Samir reached for it, but the woman held it a second longer. "Do not open the window," she said. "Do not stare into the mirror for too long, and if somebody knocks on your door tonight..." She released the key. "Do not answer." Samir forced a weak smile. "What is this? Another local legend?" The woman didn't smile back. "No," she said. "This is what I tell the ones who still have a chance." Room 6 smelled of mildew and old dust. One sagging bed, a bathroom with cracked tiles, peeling wallpaper, a tall mirror mounted crooked on the wall near the sink. Samir locked the door, then pushed a chair beneath the knob for good measure. He didn't take off his shoes. He sat on the bed and drank water with shaking hands, telling himself over and over that exhaustion was making him hallucinate. A long drive, no sleep, too much desert, too many creepy stories, that was all, nothing else. Then the bathroom faucet turned on. He looked up. Water dripped into the sink. Tip, tip, tip. Samir rose slowly and stepped into the bathroom. The overhead light buzzed faintly. He twisted the faucet shut and looked at himself in the mirror. His face was pale. His eyes were bloodshot. He looked like a man who had already survived something impossible. Then he noticed someone standing behind him. A tall, black figure, in the reflection only, standing near the bed. Its head nearly touched the ceiling, its arms hung too low. Its body looked thin and stretched, like a shadow pulled into the shape of a person. Samir spun around. The room was empty. He turned back to the mirror. The figure was closer now. His breath caught in his throat. He stepped backward. In the mirror, the thing moved without moving. Every time he blinked, it was nearer. Then, knock, knock, knock. A soft tapping at the motel door. Samir went still. A woman's voice came from outside. Soft, shaking, almost crying. "Please, open the door. My car broke down." He stared at the door. The old woman's warning echoed in his head. "Do not answer." Another knock. "Please, I'm alone." Samir said nothing. The silence stretched. Then the voice changed. Same voice, different tone, colder. "I know you're in there." His mouth went dry. The knocking grew slower, more deliberate. Then multiple voices began speaking together through the wood. Male, female, old, young, all layered into one broken whisper. "Open, open, open." Something dark began to seep beneath the gap under the door. At first, Samir thought it was smoke. Then he realized it was too thick, too black. It moved like liquid shadow, spreading slowly across the floor. He stumbled backward, heart slamming against his ribs. In the bathroom mirror, even the tall figure now stood directly behind him. And then, the lights went out. Complete darkness crashed over the room. Samir opened his mouth to scream. Before he could, something leaned close to his ear in the pitch black and whispered, "The road did not let you go." The darkness didn't feel empty. It felt occupied. Samir couldn't see anything, but he could feel it. Something was standing right behind him, close enough that if he moved even an inch, he would touch it. He didn't breathe. He didn't blink. Then, the lights came back, flickering once, twice, then steady. The room was empty. No shadow, no figure, no black liquid under the door, just the same broken motel room, the same peeling walls, the same mirror. But something had changed. The air felt heavier, like the room remembered what had just been inside it. Samir staggered back, grabbing the edge of the sink. His hands were shaking violently now. No, this isn't real. He turned toward the door. The chair was still jammed beneath the handle. No sign of forced entry. No footprints. Nothing. Then his eyes dropped to the floor. A thin black trail stretched from the door, across the room, into the bathroom, like something had crawled inside and vanished. Samir's stomach twisted. I'm leaving. He didn't care anymore. Didn't care if the truck was still out there. Didn't care if the road swallowed him whole. Anything was better than staying here. He rushed to the door. Then, knock. One soft tap. Samir froze. A familiar voice came from the other side. Open up. It's me. The old woman. Samir hesitated. You okay in there? She asked. He stepped closer to the door, but didn't touch it. You alone? Silence. Then, does it matter? Samir's heart dropped. That wasn't her tone. That wasn't human. Before he could step back, two long, thin fingers slid under the door. Gray. Too long. The nails were black and cracked. The fingers twitched, scratching against the floor, trying to reach further inside. Samir stumbled backward. Outside, the voice started laughing. Not loud, not normal, dry, broken, like bones grinding together. Open the door, Samir. It knew his name again. His chest tightened. He didn't answer. The fingers slowly withdrew. Silence returned, but not peace. Never peace. Samir didn't waste another second. He ran to the bathroom window, forced it open, and climbed out into the back lot of the motel. The desert air hit him like a furnace, but somehow, he still felt freezing. He dropped to the ground and ran, straight toward the front office. The door was half open. Inside, the old woman sat behind the counter exactly as before, writing in a thick, dusty ledger, like nothing had happened. Samir burst in. What the hell is that thing? She didn't look surprised, didn't even look scared. She just lifted her eyes slowly. It got in, didn't it? Samir stared at her. You knew? I warned you. That doesn't answer anything. She turned the ledger toward him. Names, dozens of them, hundreds maybe, each with dates, room numbers, and beside many of them, written in red ink, returned to the road. Samir felt his throat tighten. What does that mean? The old woman leaned back. Those who leave don't always leave. A cold silence filled the room. Then she spoke again. Some become part of it. Samir shook his head. No, that's insane. She ignored him. Tell me what you saw. He hesitated, then whispered. A truck, a woman, a child, something in the mirror. The old woman nodded slowly. Good. That means it's still testing you. Samir's eyes widened. Testing? If you had already accepted it, you wouldn't be here talking to me. A low rumble echoed outside. Samir turned. Engine noise. Heavy. Deep. Not like before. This time, it was real. The old woman's face went pale. He found you. Samir moved to the window and looked out. The black truck stood just beyond the motel sign. Massive. Still. Watching. Its headlights were off. But somehow, he knew it could see him. Who is that? Samir whispered. The old woman took a slow breath. That's not a driver. Then what is it? She looked at him. A collector. She opened a drawer and pulled out a small wrapped bundle. While inside, a black stone tied with red thread, a small silver cross, and dried herbs. Take these. Samir stared. What is this going to do? Maybe nothing, she said honestly. But people used to believe it helped. That's not comforting. She ignored that. Listen carefully. You don't have much time. Samir forced himself to focus. That thing outside, it doesn't just chase people, it feeds on something. Fear? More than that, she said. Guilt, regret, loss. The parts of you that never healed. Samir felt something twist inside his chest. She saw it. You're carrying something, she said quietly. He didn't answer, didn't need to. Outside, the truck's engine growled, louder now, closer. The ground trembled slightly. Samir looked again. The truck had moved. It was closer to the office now, much closer, and still no sound of wheels. Just that deep, unnatural vibration, like something beneath the earth was moving with it. Why me? Samir whispered. The old woman's voice dropped. Because you're already broken. The words hit harder than anything else. Images flashed in Samir's mind. A night. Rain. A highway. His younger brother sitting beside him. Angry voices. A second of distraction. Headlights. Impact. Silence. He shut his eyes tight. No, the old woman said softly. It knows. Suddenly, ting. The bell above the office door rang, but no one opened it. Samir turned slowly. The door was still closed, but the bell kept ringing. Ting, ting, ting. Then, a child's voice. Grandma, I'm cold. The old woman froze. Her entire body stiffened. That's not real, Samir whispered. Her lips trembled. That's my son. Samir looked at her sharply. You said he died. 40 years ago. The voice came again, closer, softer. Please, let me in. Samir felt it then, the truth. This thing didn't just scare people. It became what they couldn't resist. The old woman stepped forward slowly. No, Samir said. Don't. But she wasn't listening anymore. Her eyes were locked on the door. Her hand reached for the handle. Mom, the voice whispered. That was it. She broke. The door opened. What stood outside wasn't a child. It looked like one, small, thin, head tilted. But the face was wrong, skin sagging, eyes hollow, mouth too wide, too deep, too dark. It smiled. The old woman gasped. Then the lights exploded. The room plunged into chaos. The air filled with whispers, screams, laughter, and Samir didn't wait. He ran, out the back, into the desert, toward his truck. He jumped inside, slammed the door, and turned the key. The engine roared to life. Behind him, the motel went silent, too silent, like it had been erased. He didn't look back. He drove. Minutes passed, or hours. Time didn't feel real anymore. The road stretched endlessly ahead. Then, a sign appeared. His breath caught. Welcome to Red Moon Lodge. Samir's hands tightened on the wheel. No, 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 no. He had already left. He had driven far. But the motel was ahead of him again. Exactly the same. Same broken lights, same building, same place. Medium. The road was looping, trapping him. Then, figures appeared in the middle of the road. 3 of them, a man, a woman, a child, holding hands, standing still. Samir didn't slow down. It didn't brake, didn't think. He swerved slightly and drove past them. As he passed, they lifted their heads. The man's neck twisted unnaturally. The woman's body sagged open. The child had no face, just smooth skin. Then all 3 spoke, in one voice. "He didn't finish us." Samir's heart slammed. Then, from the back seat, a voice, right behind him. "He won't finish you either." Samir's grip locked on the wheel. He did not turn. He could not turn. The voice leaned closer. "You know why?" he whispered. "Stop. Because the road doesn't want you dead." A pause. Then the whisper turned into something colder. "It wants you awake." Samir's eyes flicked to the rearview mirror. He shouldn't have looked, but he did. The black truck was back, closer than ever. And this time, he could see the driver clearly. Its head slowly turned toward him. Its face was not a face, burned flesh, torn skin, and where the eyes should be, endless darkness. Inside that darkness, shapes, faces, people, moving, screaming, trapped. The truck's horn blasted, not a sound, a scream, 1,000 voices in agony. The road trembled, the sky seemed to bend, Samir's vision blurred, and in that moment, he understood something terrible. This wasn't chasing him. It was bringing him somewhere. The whisper came again, right behind his ear. "Now, you will see." Part 2. NH-33, the Highway of Death. The road from Ranchi to Jamshedpur stretched ahead like a dark ribbon swallowed by jungle. NH-33. A highway that didn't feel like a highway. It felt watched. Arman Khan adjusted his grip on the steering wheel as his car cut through the thick silence of the night. Dense forest pressed in from both sides, trees leaning inward like they were trying to listen. No streetlights, no people, no sound, only the low hum of his engine and the occasional chirping of insects that stopped suddenly, as if something larger was passing through. Arman exhaled slowly. "Just a road," he muttered. "Just another road." But even he didn't believe it. Earlier that evening, he had stopped at a roadside tea stall just outside Ranchi. The owner, an old man with deep wrinkles and tired eyes, had asked him where he was heading. "Jamshedpur. I'll take NH-33. Faster." The old man didn't reply immediately. He poured tea, hand trembling slightly, then said, "Don't stop if someone asks for help." Arman frowned. "Why?" The man looked up. "If she stands in the road, drive past her." "She?" The man leaned closer. "And if you ignore her," he paused, "you'll hear her anyway." Now, driving alone in the dark, those words wouldn't leave Arman's mind. The road curved slightly. His headlights swept across the trees, and then something appeared. A figure, standing in the middle of the road. Arman's foot instinctively moved toward the brake. A woman, white sari, long hair covering her face, standing completely still. No. His breath tightened. The tea stall man's voice echoed, "Don't stop." Arman clenched his teeth and pressed the accelerator instead. The car sped forward, closer, closer. The woman didn't move, didn't react, didn't even turn her head. At the last second, Arman swerved slightly and drove past her. For one brief moment, he saw her face. There were no eyes, only darkness, and her mouth. Too wide, smiling, Arman gasped, his heart slammed against his ribs. No, he didn't look back. He drove faster. Silence returned. But it wasn't the same silence. Now, it felt closer. Then, talk, a sound, soft, from his left. Armin froze. Talk, talk. His eyes slowly shifted toward the driver's side window. Nothing there. Just darkness, trees rushing past. He swallowed. Imagination. Talk. Louder now. Something was knocking. From outside. Armand's hands tightened on the wheel. Stop it. Stop it. The knocking continued. Slow. Rhythmic. Then, a voice. Soft. Right beside him. Why didn't you stop? Armand's blood turned ice cold. The voice was outside, right next to his window. Keeping pace with the car. Impossible. He turned his head, just slightly, and saw her, running, beside the car. Her feet weren't touching the ground. Her body moved unnaturally fast, hair covering her face. Except now, he could see her mouth. Still smiling. Talk, talk, talk. Her fingers tapped the glass as she ran. Let me in, Armand screamed and slammed the accelerator. The car shot forward. Speedometer climbing. 80, 90, 100. But she didn't fall behind. She stayed beside him. Effortless. Gliding. Then suddenly, she disappeared. The knocking stopped. The voice vanished. Silence. Armin panted heavily. I'm fine. I'm fine. Then, from the back seat, talk. Armand froze. Talk. Talk. Slow. Deliberate. He did not turn. He couldn't. The voice came again, now, inside the car. Why didn't you stop? Armand's eyes filled with terror. The rear-view mirror. He looked and immediately regretted it. She was sitting there, in the back seat, head tilted, hair covering her face. Then slowly, very slowly, she lifted her head. Her face came into view, skin pale, eyes empty black voids, and that same wide smile. Now you have to stop. The steering wheel jerked violently. The car swerved. Armin screamed. The engine roared. Tires screeched. The car lost control. And then, everything went black. Darkness. Not peaceful, not empty. Heavy, pressing, breathing. Armin opened his eyes. Slowly. Pain hit him first, sharp, pulsing, crawling behind his forehead like something alive. For a moment, he didn't know where he was, didn't know who he was. Then memory came back. The road, the woman, the knocking, the face. His breath hitched. He was still in the car, still sitting behind the wheel. But something was wrong. The engine was off. The headlights were dead. The dashboard, black. Everything around him, pitch black. Not even the forest, not even the sky, just darkness. Armin swallowed hard. What happened? His voice sounded thin, weak, almost like it didn't belong to him anymore. He tried turning the key. Nothing. Not even a click. The car was completely dead. Then, he heard it. Footsteps. Outside the car. Slow. Dragging. Step. Drag. Step. Drag. Armin froze. Every muscle in his body locked. His breathing became shallow. Silent. The sound circled the car. Deliberate. Patient. Like something that already knew he wasn't going anywhere. A shadow slid across the windshield. Distorted. Too long. Too thin. Then, a hand appeared, pressed flat against the glass. Pale, almost gray, the fingers, too long, too thin, and slightly bent, like broken bones healed wrong. The skin looked wet, not with water, something darker. Tuck. Armin shut his eyes tightly. No, no, no. Another knock, closer, slower. Tuck, tuck. The voice came, soft, right outside. You stopped. His heart slammed against his ribs. You weren't supposed to stop. Armin shook his head violently. I didn't mean to. Silence. Then, the door handle moved. Click. Locked. Again. Click. 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 Faster now, aggressive, impatient. Armin grabbed the lock with both hands, pressing it down like his life depended on it. Because it did. The handle jerked again, harder. Then it stopped. Silence. The hand on the glass slowly slid downward, leaving behind a long, dark smear, like something had been dragged across the surface. For a few seconds, nothing. No sound, no movement. Then, a whisper from inside the car. "You let me in." Armand's eyes snapped open. Cold, sudden, violent. The air inside the car dropped in temperature instantly. His breath turned white, the back seat empty. But the darkness there felt thicker, deeper, like it had weight. Something shifted, a shape forming, right behind him, breathing, slow, wet, too close. Armand's fingers tightened on the steering wheel. His nails dug into the leather. "Don't turn," he whispered to himself. "Don't turn." But something pulled him. Not physically, mentally. Like a hook in his thoughts, dragging his attention, forcing his awareness backward. He turned. She was there, inches away, her face right beside his. Smiling, but not like before. Now, her mouth was wider, much wider, stretching, pulling, splitting, not tearing, opening, like a door, until it wasn't a mouth anymore. It was a hole, though dark, endless. Inside, something moved. At first, just shadows, then shapes, people, faces, dozens, hundreds, crying, screaming, begging. Some pressed against invisible walls, some reaching outward, some staring directly at him, with eyes full of terror. Armin couldn't look away. "You stopped," she whispered. Her voice cracked, then multiplied. Dozens of voices, layered, broken. All of them stopped. Her mouth opened wider. The darkness inside expanded, reaching, pulling. Armin felt it. Not on his body. Inside him. Like something was grabbing his thoughts, his memories, his soul. His body jerked forward slightly. "No, no!" He grabbed the steering wheel, held on, fought. The pull grew stronger. The car trembled, outside. The forest began to move, trees bending, branches twisting. Not from wind, from pressure, from something awakening. "You belong here," the voices whispered. "You belong to the road," Armin screamed. "I didn't mean to stop." The pull paused, just for a second, her head tilted, curious. Then, the voices inside her changed, not speaking to him, about him. He feels it. He remembers. He broke something. Armin's chest tightened. No. And then, it came back. The memory. Clear, sharp. Rain hitting the windshield, wipers struggling. His younger brother laughing, then shouting. An argument, loud, angry. "Watch the road!" A second, just 1 second. He looked away. Headlights. Too close. Impact. Silence. Armin screamed. "I didn't mean to." "You didn't stop then either." The voice cut through him, not hers, his own. "You looked away." The darkness surged forward. Stronger, hungrier. "That's why you're here." Armin felt himself slipping, losing control. His grip weakened. The steering wheel felt distant, unreal. The pull intensified. The faces inside her mouth screamed louder, reaching for him. "Join us." Armand's vision blurred. His body leaned forward, closer, closer. Then, a sound, distant, faint, a horn, another car, far away, coming closer. Light appeared in the distance, small but real. The pull weakened, slightly. The woman hissed, angry. "No!" The headlights grew brighter. The forest recoiled. The darkness flickered. Armin gasped. This was his chance. He screamed, "I'm not yours!" He broke eye contact. Fell back into his seat. The pull snapped. Gone. The woman screamed, a horrible, distorted, inhuman sound. Her body twisted, collapsed inward and vanished completely. The passing car's headlights flooded everything, blinding, real, alive. Then it was gone. Silence returned, but this time, normal, and the engine suddenly roared back to life. The dashboard lit up, the radio clicked off, the cold vanished, everything returned. Armin gasped. He didn't think, didn't question. He drove, faster than ever, didn't stop, didn't look back, didn't breathe properly until he saw lights, real lights, of the city. Days later, people found his car near Jamshedpur, parked, door open, engine cold. But Armin, gone, no body, no blood, no struggle, nothing. Only one thing remained. On the inside of the driver's side window, a handprint, small, pressed from within. And if you drive on NH33 at night, some say, you might see a man standing in the road, injured, asking for help, his face pale, his eyes tired. If you stop, he'll disappear, and then you'll hear it, right beside your window. Talk, talk, talk! A soft whisper. Part 3, E8 Carrick Highway, the Endless Road. The road to Genting Highlands curved upward through the mountains like a serpent disappearing into fog. E8 Carrick Highway. Beautiful in the daytime, unforgiving at night. Eamon tightened his grip on the steering wheel as his car climbed the winding road. Thick jungle surrounded both sides, dense, silent, suffocating. The headlights barely cut through the fog, which rolled low across the asphalt like something alive. No other cars, no lights. Just the sound of tires and the distant whisper of wind through trees. Almost there, he muttered. But the words felt wrong, like he had said them before. Earlier that night, at a roadside rest stop, a security guard had stopped him before he left. "You're going up now?" Eamon nodded. "Yeah, why?" The guard hesitated, then said, "If you hear a child crying, don't follow it." Eamon frowned. "What?" "And if your back seat looks full," the guard stepped closer. "Don't check." Eamon had laughed it off. Now, he wished he hadn't. The road curved sharply, fog thickened, the forest seemed to lean closer. Then, he saw it, a yellow Volkswagen, parked on the side of the road, old model, faded paint, door slightly open. Eamon slowed instinctively. Someone broke down. No lights, no movement. He glanced at it as he passed. For a split second, he thought he saw someone inside, but the car was empty. He drove on. Silence returned. Then, something changed. The air inside the car felt heavier. Eamon shifted in his seat. Something felt wrong. He checked the rear-view mirror. Back seat, empty. He exhaled. Relax. The road curved again. Fog thick, visibility low. Then, he heard it, a faint sound. At first, he thought it was the wind. Then it came again, soft, broken, crying, a child. From outside, somewhere in the forest, Eamon's hands tightened. "No," the sound echoed. "Help." A child's voice, weak, lost. From the left side of the road, deep in the trees. Eamon slowed. No, keep driving." But the crying grew louder, closer. "Please." It sounded real. Too real. His foot eased off the accelerator. The car slowed. The crying stopped. Instantly. Silence. Too sudden. Too unnatural. Eamon's breath caught. Something was wrong. He pressed the gas again. The car moved forward. Then, knock. Eamon froze. Soft. Behind him, knock, knock, from the back seat. His heart dropped. No. Slowly, he looked at the rearview mirror and saw nothing. Empty seat, but the reflection felt wrong, like something was there, but not visible. Then, the The fog outside thickened suddenly. The headlights flickered, and for a brief second, he saw it. A figure, sitting in the back seat. Black, completely black, no face, no features, just a human shape made of darkness. Eamon gasped and turned around. Nothing. Back seat empty. His breathing became rapid. No, I didn't see that. He turned forward again and slammed the brakes. The yellow Volkswagen, right in front of him. Same position. Same door open. Impossible. I passed this already. His pulse raced. He slowly drove past it again. This time, he didn't look, didn't slow, didn't breathe. Minutes passed, or maybe seconds. Time felt wrong. Then, another curve, fog clearing slightly, and there, the yellow Volkswagen. Again, exactly the same. Lachi Eamon's hands began to shake. No, this isn't real. The road was looping, trapping him. He drove faster, didn't stop. Then, the radio turned on, static. Then, a child's voice, right beside him, not from outside, inside. Why didn't you help me? Eamon's blood ran cold. The back seat. He looked. The black figure was there again, closer this time, its head tilted slightly, watching him, and from where its face should be. The sound of crying came out. Not one voice, many, layered, broken. Help me, Eamon screamed and slammed the accelerator. The car sped forward violently. The figure didn't move, didn't react, just sat there, watching. Then, slowly, it leaned forward, closer, closer, until its head was right behind his shoulder. Eamon could feel it, cold, breathing, not air, something else. Then, the whisper, right in his ear. You shouldn't have come back. Eamon's eyes widened. Come back. The figure's head tilted more. Then, for a split second, the darkness peeled away. And underneath, a face, burned, distorted, mouth open in a silent scream, then gone. The figure returned to shadow. Eamon's vision blurred. His mind struggled. What is happening? Then, the road opened ahead, clear, no fog, no cars, freedom. He drove, fast, desperate. Then, a sign appeared. Genting Highlands, 25 kilometers. Eamon blinked. 25. He had already driven that distance, hours ago, hadn't he? His breath became uneven. Then, the radio whispered again. You never left. Eamon's hands trembled. No, you keep coming back. The road ahead began to look familiar. Too familiar. The same curve, the same trees, the same broken signpost. And then, the yellow Volkswagen. Again, waiting. Eamon's mind cracked slightly. This isn't a road, the whisper answered. No. The black figure leaned closer. This is where you stay. The road didn't change. That was the problem. Eamon stared ahead, hands locked around the steering wheel, knuckles white. Same curve, same trees, same broken sign, same fog rolling low across the asphalt. And ahead, the yellow Volkswagen, exactly where it had been before. Door slightly open, waiting. Eamon's breath trembled. This is impossible. The black figure in the back seat leaned closer. He didn't need to look. He could feel it, cold, heavy, breathing. You understand now, it whispered. Its voice wasn't one voice. It was layered, like multiple people speaking at once. You don't leave this road. Eamon shook his head violently. No, I'm driving. I'm moving. I'm getting out. You already tried. The words hit differently. Eamon froze. What? Silence. Then, images. Not outside. I'm inside his head. Flashes. The same road. The same car. The same night. Again. And again. And again. His breathing became uneven. I've been here before." The black figure leaned even closer. "You've been here many times." Eamon's heart pounded violently. "That's not possible. Look at the road." Slowly, Eamon looked ahead. Really looked. The cracks on the asphalt, the shape of the trees, the position of the fog. It was identical. Not similar. The same, like a copy, like a loop. His hands began to shake uncontrollably. No. The radio suddenly turned on. Static, then. A voice, not a child, his own, panicked from before. Why is it the same road again? Eamon's eyes widened. That was him. That was his voice. From earlier, or from another time. The radio continued. "I passed that car already. I swear I did." The voice cut off. Silence. Then, another sound. Screeching tires, a crash, metal bending, glass shattering. Eamon stopped breathing. "No," the black figure whispered. "You remember now." The world around him flickered. For a split second, the road disappeared, and he saw it, the truth. His car, crushed, wrapped around a tree, headlights broken, smoke rising, and inside, him, motionless. Blood running down his face, eyes open, not blinking, dead. The vision vanished. The road returned, the car still moving, still driving. Eamon's mind shattered. No, I'm alive." The black figure laughed softly, a horrible, hollow sound. "You never made it past this road." Eamon's breathing turned into gasps. "This isn't real. This isn't real." "You died here," the words echoed. "You just don't remember it." Eamon's grip loosened on the wheel. The car continued forward. But now, he noticed something else. There were scratches on the inside of the car door, deep, like fingernails dragged again and again. He looked closer. There were words, carved, overlapping, desperate. "Help me. Get out. Not real." Eamon's chest tightened. "I wrote that." The figure nodded slowly. "Every time." The road ahead darkened, the fog thickened, and the yellow Volkswagen was closer now, closer than ever before. This time, there was someone inside. A shape in the driver's seat, head tilted, watching him. Eamon slowed. He couldn't stop himself. The car rolled forward, slow, heavy, like something was pulling him toward it. "No, don't stop, don't stop." But his foot pressed the brake. The car stopped, right beside the Volkswagen. Silence, absolute. The forest held its breath. Eamon turned his head, slowly. The figure inside the Volkswagen was him. Same face, same clothes, same fear, but dead. Eyes hollow, skin pale, mouth slightly open. Frozen in the moment of death, Eamon's voice broke. "No." The version of him inside the Volkswagen slowly smiled. Then, its mouth opened, too wide, too deep. Inside, darkness. The same darkness, the same endless void, filled with faces, crying, screaming, repeating. Eamon stumbled back in his seat. Behind him, the black figure whispered, "You keep arriving here, and every time, you stop." The car door clicked, unlocked. Eamon froze. No. The handle moved, slowly, inviting. "You can leave now," the voice said. "For real this time." Eamon's hand trembled. He reached for the handle. "No, this is a trap." But the thought felt weak, fading. The forest outside seemed calmer, warmer, safer. The Volkswagen door creaked open. The version of him inside stepped out, standing on the road, watching, waiting. "Come," it said. Same voice, his voice. "You just have to step out." Eamon's mind blurred. The fear faded, replaced by something else. Relief. Peace. "Just step out." His fingers wrapped around the handle. He pulled. The door opened. Cool air rushed in. The forest felt quiet, welcoming. He stepped out, The moment his foot touched the ground, everything changed. The world distorted. The road cracked. The forest twisted inward. The sky darkened instantly. And the version of him grabbed him. Its grip was cold, impossible. "You're staying this time," Eamon screamed, but no sound came out. The darkness from its mouth expanded, engulfing him, pulling him in. The road swallowed him, completely. Silence. Morning. A car drove along the E8 highway. A couple inside, laughing, talking, normal. Then they saw him. A man standing in the middle of the road, alone, waving. "Stop the car," the woman said. "He needs help." The driver hesitated, then slowed down. The man stepped closer, his face pale, eyes hollow, but smiling. "Please," he said. The driver opened the window slightly. "Are you okay?" The man tilted his head and whispered, "Why didn't you stop earlier?" The woman frowned. "What?" Then the man disappeared. Gone. The road empty again. Silence. The couple looked at each other, confused. Then, from the back seat, knock. They froze. Knock, knock, slow, close, and a whisper right behind them.